Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm George Connolly with Scratch Golf Tips, and today we're looking at the swing of Nick Dunlap. If you pay any attention to professional golf, especially here in America, you've probably heard the name Nick Dunlap, perhaps for the first time in the past few days. Dunlap was the first amateur to win on the PGA Tour since 1991. Obviously, before that, he still was a very decorated golfer, having won the Junior Am here in the United States, as well as the U.S. Amateur. So, great career ahead of him. Let's talk about the swing that has allowed him all of this early success. Let's start off by looking at the setup. This setup position is actually pretty interesting to me because when I first saw it on television, I thought it looked pretty athletic, a fairly standard setup to the golf ball, but in looking at it a little bit more, he does have a lot of knee bend. For a lot of golfers, knee bend really helps them feel a little bit more connected with the golf ball rotationally, and I understand that, but there are some things that knee bend can actually inhibit. Like if you're really bent down, it will actually make lower body rotation, especially rotation in the hips, a little bit more difficult, which is something that we can see a little bit in Dunlap's swing, but his great upper body strength and his upper body flexibility kind of counteracts that, and I think that it's to his benefit as that upper body rotation really allows a nice shallowing position for him. And also, if you look at the top of this backswing, you can just see an excellent position. He makes that perfect right triangle between his arms and his chest line. If you're looking to get in a better position at the top of the backswing, right before your transitionary move, this is a great thing to look at and learn from. It's also important to note that this golf swing is slightly shorter than a lot of the swings that we're seeing out on the PGA Tour. But again, I've never been opposed to a shorter swing. We see guys like Finau and Rahm who have that shorter, maybe a little bit of a quicker tempo, shorter swing. They can still hit the ball a mile. For a lot of people, shortening up the swing actually really improves their consistency. And if you're striking the ball better, you may hit the ball just as far, even a little bit further by shortening up that golf swing a little bit. Now, one thing that I've seen instructors and some other students of golf swings look at is his heel movement throughout the golf swing. We've looked a lot at trail heels in recent past on these golf analysis videos, but you can actually see a little bit of left heel movement. So for Dunlap, that's actually his front heel. There's a little bit of left heel movement as he takes the club away, which is indicative of some pretty valuable weight transfer. Again, because of his lack of hip rotation, having that weight transfer kind of come through the heels to create a little bit of movement in that lower body is very valuable for someone like him. This left heel motion, especially early on in the golf swing before the transitionary move has even started, is not something totally unfamiliar to the professional golf scene. I think people like Justin Thomas have really popularized it, and Justin Thomas, who actually played with Dunlap in his final round at the American Express, JT is not a big guy, but he hits the ball a mile. Dunlap is a little bit bigger than JT, certainly a little bit more strength, but he also utilizes this heel motion, that front heel motion, in the same way that JT does to add a little bit more power to the golf swing. In terms of swing plane and club face, there is so much that is teachable from Nick Dunlap's golf swing. At impact, he basically returns the shaft of that golf club to where it stood at address. It stays on one plane through the backswing and through the transitionary move. It's a very controlled golf swing. Now, we've seen plenty of really solid two-plane golf swings. We've seen people take up the club really high and then shallow it out, Jim Furyk, Matthew Wolff. But if you're looking for consistency and a golf swing that can kind of stand the test of time, especially through some of those pressure situations like perhaps trying to win a U.S. Amateur or trying to win a PGA Tour event as an amateur, Nick Dunlap's swing kind of does stand that test because it's just simple and it's very repeatable. The club face as well, there's really no opening or closing of the club face too dramatically. He does come a little bit across the ball at times with the driver, which can produce a really nice controllable fade as long as that club face isn't too open. And because Dunlap has such great control over that club face, it really does produce this great bullet fade with the driver. So much to like about this golf swing. The tempo is repeatable. He obviously practices and works super hard. In the interviews that I've heard with him, he really sounds like a seasoned vet. Sounds like he has a good head on his shoulders. And another thing that I do want to address is I know that these videos are about the golf swing, but the kid has an absolutely nails putting stroke. One of the best putting strokes that I've seen in professional golf in quite some time. And that also is very important. He had that 5 or 6 footer to win the tournament. That stroke, under pressure looked uncrackable. It was an absolutely beautiful motion, and I was very happy to see that putting stroke really did do a lot of the heavy lifting for him, especially there towards the end. Let me know what you think about Dunlap's golf swing. Obviously, a super exciting week for golf. Certainly something that professional golf needed. Something as exciting as seeing an amateur win once again on the PGA Tour. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the golf swing as well as your thoughts on the future career. As of right now, Dunlap has not dropped out of college and pursued professional status on the PGA Tour. Now he has 2 years of exemption on the PGA Tour as well as access to majors, elevated events, all that good stuff. So I'm fully expecting him to become professional, but we'll see what happens as the days play out. As always, thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.